We're going to do section 2.3, which is entitled Linear Equations, Clearing Fractions and Decimals. Number 1 says determine which of the values could be used to clear the fractions in a given equation. So when clearing the fractions, you want to find the least common denominator. And actually, it doesn't even have to be the least, it just has to be a common denominator. So of the numbers 4, 8, and 6, what number will all of those numbers go into? And I'm going to tell you to go, since this is a multiple choice question, go use the answers. 4 will not go into 6, so you know that that's not it. 4 and 8 will both go into 8, but 6 won't go into 8, so that's not it. For 12, 4 goes into 12, 6 goes into 12, but 8 doesn't go into 12. That won't work. Let's go to 24. 24 divided by 4 is 6, so 4 and 6 both go into 24. And how about 8? 24 divided by 8 is 3, so it looks like we have our winner. That's the smallest number that they both go into. They will both go into, they all go into 24. They will all go into 48 as well, but that's not the least. That's not the smallest. Okay, number 2 says to determine which of the values could be used to clear the decimals in the given equation. So to clear the decimals, you need to go see what's the most number of decimal points in your equation. Do you see that this one has 2 place values? This one just has 1. This one has 2 behind the decimal, and this one has 1. So the biggest is 2. You have a number with, what would that be, 100ths? So to clear, let's just circle that one. To clear a number that has 2 decimal places, we need to multiply by 100. Because 0.08 times 100 would give you just 8. If you had 0.5 times 100, I want to say times 100, 0.5 times 100 would give you 50. So all of the decimal places in that equation would be cleared if you multiplied every number by 100. Number 3, 1/3 m plus 2 is equal to 5. I told you in the previous sections not to worry about fractions because your calculator can handle them. So I'm going to show you the way we've been doing this, and then I'm going to show you the new way that this section is going to show you how to do it. Okay, so at first I covered the m up, and I see that I need to get the 2 to the other side. So I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides first. That leaves me with 1/3 m is equal to 5 minus 2 is 3. Now, you can either divide both sides by 1/3, or you can multiply both sides by 3/1. Either way. When I multiply by 3/1, I get m equals, now 3 times 3/1, 3 times 3/1 is 9. So my answer is m equals 9. Okay, the way that this section is going to show you to do it, 1/2 m plus 2 equals 5. They're going to teach you to clear the denominator, which means to multiply the entire equation by the least common denominator. And it's early this morning and I'm not keeping up with numbers correctly. I should say 1/3 m. So the least common denominator is going to be 3. I'm going to multiply the entire equation by 3. So I'm going to have to distribute that 3 to everyone. 3 times 1/3 m is just m. 3 times 2 is 6, and 3 times 5 is 15. Now to get the m by itself, I need to subtract 6 from both sides. And I have m equals 15 minus 6 is 9. So you get the same thing solving it both ways. You can either clear the fraction, or you can deal with the fraction and just let your calculator do the arithmetic. Number 4, solve the equation. I'm going to do it old school, the way we were doing it, because my calculator can handle fractions. I'm going to add 2/3 to both sides. On the left, I have negative 5/18 q. On the right, I have negative 1/9 q plus, 1/6 plus 2/3. I have 1/6 plus 2/3. And I get 5/6. Now I need to get this q to the other side. So I'm going to add 1/9 q to both sides. Negative 5/18 plus 1/9. Negative 5/18 plus 1/9 is negative 1/6. So negative 1/6 q equals 5/6. To get q by itself, I'm going to multiply both sides by negative 6/1. I'm left with q equals negative 5/6 times negative 6/1. 5/6 times negative 6/1. I get negative 5. That's my answer. All right, to clear the denominator, so working this problem another way, the new way, I need to multiply the entire equation by the least common denominator. So the number that 18, 3, 9, and 6 will go into is 18. I'm going to take that 18 and distribute it to every term. What do I get? 18 times negative 5/18. 18 times negative 5/18. I get negative 5. So negative 5q. 18 times negative 2/3. I get negative 12. So negative 5q minus 12 equals 18 times negative 1/9 q. 18 times negative 1/9. I get negative 2q. And 18 times 1/6. I get 3. So negative 2q plus 3. So now I have an equivalent equation that has no fractions. I'm going to add 12 to both sides. Negative 5q equals negative 2q plus 15. I'm going to add 2q to both sides. Negative 5q plus 2q is negative 3q equals 15. Now I'm going to divide by negative 3 on both sides. So q equals negative 5. You get the same answer both ways. Question number 5, solve the equation. And I have rewritten the equation. Before I clear the fractions, I'm going to distribute that 1/5 because I don't like parentheses in my equation. 1/5 times 6 is 6/5 m, minus 1/5 times 5 is 1, minus 1/2 is equal to 1/5 m plus 1/2. You can collect like terms first, or you can get rid of the fractions first. I'm going to get rid of the fraction. So what number will 5 and 2 both go into? The answer is 10. So I'm going to multiply every term by 10. 10 times 6/5 m. 10 times 6/5 is 12. So I get 12m minus 10 times 1 is 10. 10 times negative 1/2 is negative 5. 10 times 1/5 m. 10 times 1/5 is 2. So I get 2m. 10 times 1/2 is 5. So I get plus 5. Okay, collecting like terms on the left, minus 10, or negative 10 minus 5. So I get 12m, negative 10 minus 5 is negative 15, equals 2m plus 5. I'm going to add 15 to both sides. 12m is equal to 2m plus 5 plus 15 is 20. I'm going to subtract 2m from both sides. 12m minus 2m is 10m. So 10m equals 20. Dividing both sides by 10, I get m equals 2. 20 divided by 10 is 2. Number 6. Solve the equation. 1/9 parentheses 5n minus 21 equals 1/3 parentheses n plus 1. Most of you are going to want to distribute those numbers out front first, and that's fine. But I'm going to show you there's a little trick here. If I were to multiply both sides, let's see, what number will 9 and 3 both go into? And it's 9. If I multiplied both sides by 9, order of operations, I need to do this multiplication out here first. So 9 times 1/9 would give me 1. So on the left, I have 5n minus 21. On the right, 3 goes into 9 3 times. I'm not going to do that one. Okay. If you're used to using your calculator, 9 times 1/3. 9 times 1/3 is 3. So I have 3 times n plus 1. Now I don't have any fractions. I still need to distribute on the right. So 5n minus 21 is equal to 3n plus 3 times 1 is 3. I'm going to add 21 to both sides. So 5n equals 3n plus 3 plus 21 is 24. Subtract 3n from both sides. 5n minus 3n is 2n equals 24. Now divide both sides by 2. So I get n equals 24 divided by 2 is 12. Number 7, solve the equation. And I've already rewritten it. So I would see this as, if I want to clear the fractions, I need to multiply both sides by 8. If you need to distribute this 1/8 first to see that you're multiplying every term by 8, go for it. So let's do that. 1/8 times 6 would give me just 6/8 p, minus 1/8 times 3 is 3/8, and that equals 3/4 p minus 3/8. Okay, like I said, the least common denominator is going to be 8. So I'm going to multiply every term by 8. When I do that, 8 times 6/8 gives me just 6p. 8 times negative 3/8 gives me negative 3. 8 times 3/4. 8 times 3/4 gives me 6. So I get 6p. 8 times negative 3/8 is minus 3. All right, if I add 3 to both sides, I get 6p equals 6p plus 0. Now I'm going to subtract 6p from both sides. And look what happens. 6p minus 6p is 0, and 0 is left on the right. So this is an identity. No matter what value I plug in for p, it will work. My variable disappeared, and I ended up with a true statement that 0 equals 0. So let's see. Select all real numbers if applicable. This answer is all real numbers. And that's because this equation is an identity. Number 8, solve the equation m plus 12 all over 7 plus 8m plus 8 all over 7 equals negative 1. My least common denominator is 7. So I need to multiply every term by 7. I'm going to go ahead and write that out again just to show you when I multiply everything by 7. So I'm going to multiply this term by 7. I'm going to multiply this term by 7. And I'm going to multiply this term by 7. Now when I do that, the 7 in the denominator and the numerator cancel. So I'm left with just m plus 12. When I multiply both sides by 7, or sorry, not both sides, this term by 7, the 7 in the denominator and numerator cancel. So I have plus 8m plus 8. Now 7 times negative 1 is negative 7. Collecting like terms on the left-hand side, m plus 8m gives me 9m. 12 plus 8 is 20. So 9m plus 20 equals negative 7. If I subtract 20 from both sides, I have 9m equals negative 7 minus 20 is negative 27. Dividing both sides by 9, I have m equals negative 3. Negative 27 divided by 9 is negative 3. Number 9, the least common denominator on this equation is 4. So if I want to multiply every term by 4, like this, I'm going to write it a different way though. I'm going to say multiply this term by 4, multiply this term by 4, and multiply this term by 4. Okay, when I do that, 2 will go into 4 2 times. So that first term becomes 2 times y minus 3 equals the second term, 4 goes into 4. So I'm just left with 3y minus 5 minus 4 times 2 is 8. On the left, I need to distribute that 2. So I have 2y minus 6 equals 3y. Combining like terms, negative 5 minus 8, so I have negative 5 minus 8 is negative 13. Add 6 to both sides. I have 2y equals 3y minus 13 plus 6. Minus 13 plus 6 is minus 7. Subtract 3y from both sides. 2y minus 3y is minus y equals minus 7. Dividing both sides by negative 1, I'm left with y equals 7. Number 10, this has decimals. Which term has the most decimals? This one has 1, that one has 1, that one has 1, and that one has 1. So I'm going to multiply every term by just 10. Because if there's one decimal place, I need to multiply by 10. And that scoots it over one time. So I'm going to multiply every number by 10. Distribute to everybody. Okay, 19.7 times 10. 19.7 times 10. It just scoots the decimal place over 1. So 197. I get 197m plus 10 times 2.4 is 24 equals 10 times 10m is 100m plus 10 times 21.8 is 218. If I subtract 24 from both sides, I have 197m equals 100m. Okay, 218 minus 24. 218 minus 24 is 194. Subtract 100m from both sides. 197m minus 100m is 97m equals 194. Dividing both sides by 97, I'm left with m equals 194 divided by 97 is 2. M equals 2. Number 11, I would distribute that to 0.3 on the right first. So I have 0.3x minus 1.5 equals 0.3x minus, 0.3 times 5 is 1.5. Oh, look, I have the same thing on both sides. So if I were to add 1.5 to both sides, I don't even need to clear decimals. That's plus 0. And if I subtract the 0.3x from both sides, clear that one, I get 0 equals 0. Do you remember what that's called? That equation is called an identity, and that means the answer is all real numbers. No matter what value I plug in for x, that equation will be true. Number 12, solve the equation. Before I get started, I don't like parentheses, so I'm going to go ahead and distribute. 0.2 times 3 is 0.6, so I get 0.6m plus 0.2 times 75 is 15. Oh, look again. What happens? 0.6m plus 15 equals 0.6m plus 15. We have the same thing on both sides. Everything's going to cancel, and we're going to be left with 0 equals 0. You should be able to recognize an identity when you see it now. Everything will cancel, and you'll be left with 0 equals 0. The answer to this problem is all real numbers. Number 13. I'm going to go ahead and work it the way this section wants you to work it and clear the decimals. Do you see that this number has, the coefficient has 2 decimal places? So 2 decimals means I'm going to multiply everything by 100. So here we go. Multiply every term by 100. So let's go distribute that to everybody. 100 times p is 100p plus 100 times 0.07p. Well, we did this so that that decimal would move over 2. So I'm going to have plus 7p is equal to 3317 times 100 is 331,700. Now I need to combine like terms here on the left. 100p plus 7p is 107p equals 331,700. Now I want to divide both sides by 107. So I have p equals 331,700 divided by 7. No, divided by 107 is 3,100. Number 14, solve the equation. Before I go there, I'm going to distribute and get rid of the parentheses because I don't like parentheses. I get 0.08c minus, 0.08 times 1.5. 0.08 times 1.5 gives me 0.12. So I have minus 0.12 equals 0.08c minus 0.12. Uh-oh. All right, actually, I should say, oh, yay. What happens? I have the same thing on both sides. So this is an identity. I don't need to go any farther. I know that everything would cancel and I would be left with 0 equals 0. So the solution is all real numbers. And that's it for this homework set.